I'm Sawyer, and you're listening to Our House, A to Z.
All right, what's up? Welcome back, all ye Our Housers.
Our Housers.
Yeah, is that like the name of the listenership?
It is now.
Yeah, Our Housers. I like it.
Official titles. I like it.
Yeah.
Welcome back. I'm cold. I'm freezing. I'm mad.
I think the air conditioning's on.
I think the air conditioning's on too. It's blowing on me, and I'm wrapped in a blanket, and I think it's like 46 degrees out. So I don't know what's happening. And somebody told me there's a nor'easter coming through tomorrow.
Operation Snowball!
Which is also making me mad.
Praise
it's supposed
him.
to be spring. If you've listened to me the last few Fridays, I'm like, yay, it's awesome. This is the best time of year. The sun's out. I'm planting, and we're happy to be outside. We've been doing so many yard projects, and now I'm like, this is the worst.
Let's talk
freezing.
about the real reason you're mad.
The real reason I'm mad is that I had poison ivy.
Like, not just normal poison ivy.
I know.
This is one time I wish that we could. Maybe I'll just have the picture of that open gaping wound
I'm
put
too
as our
embarrassed.
backdrop.
It's been 12 days.
You can't be embarrassed. You're working in a garden like every single day.
It's been 12 days, and almost every one of these 12 days, you've said to me,
Oh my God.
I mean, that's like unlike anything I've ever seen. And it's making me even more self-conscious. I mean, everybody's faces when they see it is like,
Oh my God.
drawn back.
And they like back up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're like, I don't want to catch that.
I know. You can't catch it. That's
Wives' tale?
a wives' tale. You can't catch. You can only catch it from
I'll remember that the next
oils.
time my wife tells me a tale. I'm like, that's technically my wives' tale.
That's a lie. You can't catch poison ivy from somebody else.
Okay.
Unless it's like they just touched poison ivy and you didn't even know, and the oil is still on their skin or on their backpack or whatever, gardening gear.
But you have what looks to be a flesh-eating disease, like leprosy.
Or like a chemical burn. It kind of looks like that. It definitely looks like
a chemical burn, too, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't had a lot of
bad.
chemical burns.
It's pretty bad.
I did have scurvy once, but other than that.
Flashback to that podcast.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. And so, yes, I didn't even know if we should record a podcast because I'm so cranky. I haven't slept. It's been like probably 10 days since I've had like a full night rest because I'm literally just up all night.
I want you to know I appreciate when you are cranky, though.
That's
I appreciate
so
what you just said. You said maybe we shouldn't record a podcast because we're cranky. I want you to know I think that you produce some of your best content when you're a little cranky.
You're saying that, but at times when I'm
honest.
cranky, we've recorded a podcast and you said we can't post that.
That happens like probably only once or twice, but I have kept those personally for my own records.
Gosh. To hold against me?
No, never. But no, I just
You said you were doing it to protect me.
I am. I do everything to protect you. My whole life is to protect you from yourself.
Zach knew how upset I was, how upset I've been because I've just been like so stressed out about this stupid poison ivy. Because it's one of those things, I was just telling somebody, when you have like a toothache, it's like something you can't get away from feeling.
Yeah.
And you're just like, but I just need like a little break from feeling it because it's all I can think about. It's all consuming. And it was so nice because you brought me ice cream in bed last night and that was so nice. Yeah. And you ordered it with extra peanut butter because I love peanut butter sauce.
And extra whipped cream, but it fell off in the car. So anyway.
Not in the car anywhere.
No.
Oh, yeah. So there's been multiple things. That was the other thing that happened last week. I was like gouging my arm off because I'm like so stressed out. It was either like pouring rain, like torrential or freezing cold.
Yeah.
And I had full arms the other day. I go out to the car. It's pouring. And I get to the car and the sunroof and the car windows are all open. And I was literally almost started crying. And I was telling Zach I couldn't put my stuff down anywhere because it was so wet. Like there was so much water. Like the floors in the car were covered in water.
Yeah.
But I had like all my things, like my food for work and cups. And you're trying to put stuff down, but everything's sopping wet. And you can't even turn the car, like put stuff down to turn the car on to close the sunroof. And you're just watching water pour through the sunroof at the same time. It was horrible.
Yeah. It took several days.
And then it was that. There was the car thing, and it was very stressful.
That's hard. I remember being in Florida at Southeastern, and I had a sunroof in my, didn't we do a podcast on first cars?
Did we?
93 Ford Explorer. And it was like eggplant purple.
I also had a sunroof on my first car.
And I would go into class in the morning on like a beautiful Florida day, and I'd come out and my cup holders would be full of water. But like, because the sun is so hot, it's like, you know how there's like that 20-minute shower and it's like a monsoon and then it goes, the sun comes out, the sun would dry it off the interior. But the cup holders, this is the weirdest thing.
Not here, not in New England.
No. It just rains and then it's cloudy for days on end.
Yep. So
rains for days.
And then we had a kid homesick for like 4 days last week. So it was just like, ooh.
Yep.
There's a lot of.
There was.
Ugh.
It's been a lot. Had a lot going on.
Annoying.
But
anyway.
Here we are. Recording.
We're doing it anyway.
A brutally honest podcast.
Honest podcast.
Thanks to my wife's edge. My wife's edginess, which is good.
That's mean. I'm going to be so nice.
We're going to capitalize on that.
And I'm just going to sit here with this tissue just dabbing this thing.
Yeah. It's definitely leaking.
Well, it's better now. It's
pussing.
It's a lot less. Yeah. Although it started bleeding today.
Ugh.
But I think it was because it got stuck in my sweatshirt.
Oh, geez.
Yep.
Oh, you're pulling scabs off of it? Yeah.
Anyway. Speaking of ice cream in bed. I wanted to talk today a little about romance.
Oh.
Because I feel like when you're growing up, there's this whole thing about romance. And I'm not really a romantic person. But I guess you'd have to I feel like the word romance and romantic, it's so subjective.
Of course. Like subjective, like love language-y subjective?
I guess so.
Okay.
Like you bringing me ice cream in bed I love it.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Is it the ice cream? Is it the action? It's the whole thing. I told Zach, I don't have to stand outside in the freezing. I don't have to eat it in the car. I'm like eating it in bed.
Yeah.
And I know people have their thoughts on that and eating in bed. It really bothers some people. I get it. But
like people with like obsessive compulsive sanitary
yes.
things. Yes. Like it's unsanitary.
Yes. Like think that's horrible. But
I've got a long list of things.
But there are some people that love like candles and like music and rose petals.
Oh gosh, you hate roses.
Oh my gosh,
you like them in the yard.
I like yard roses.
You don't like to get them in a bouquet.
No, I mean if I had a beautiful floral mixed bouquet or somebody brought me roses, like I'm praying this person's not listening to this podcast ever. But I dated this guy once. He did a rose petal thing, like on the floor in the shape of a heart.
Whoa.
With rose petals and candles.
That's commitment.
That I wanted to like. Get up!
Were you wondering? Were you? It was.
I was like, this is.
Wait, candles too? Were you worried you were going to be sacrificed?
Literally, that's all I could think. Not that I was actually going to be sacrificed, but I'm like, do you see that that's what this looks like? And this is literally the most annoying thing that's ever happened to me. Like, that's how I felt. What is wrong with me? Why to somebody else would they walk in and say, this is the epitome of romance? And I'm like,
yeah.
I will. I'm just going to turn around and walk out the door.
But I think
because I'm actually bothered now.
So from a guy's perspective, again, back to everything we see on TV, the romance thing.
Exactly.
It's like a commercialized version of romance that the drugstores are selling,
yes.
You know?
And we all bought into it. Think about like high school and middle school and you were like buying the giant, like it was the teddy bears with the holding a heart and a balloon and the chocolates, all of the things.
All the things.
Maybe I'm just like the odd one out. Like maybe a lot of women just love romance. Like maybe that is romance to them. I'm like ice cream in bed, romantic.
That's the subjective thing, right?
Right.
So we have some guys that listen. You know, what would your advice be to a guy who's like, oh, and like as he's listening to this, he's like looking at the rose petals that he has in the bag in the passenger seat on the way home.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, oh, maybe I'm second guessing the trail going up the stairs.
I think somebody might love that. I'm sure a lot of people. Yeah, you got to know.
If your wife is constantly reading romance novels, would that be like?
Listen, I loved Nicholas Sparks. I went through a whole season where I loved to read the Nicholas Sparks book and all that.
Yeah.
But it's like you always had in your head, this isn't real life.
It's like an escape
story. Yes. It's like when you watch a movie, like I think some people watch movies and are like, this could be me. Like I'm going to feel that. I want to feel all of that. And I think about that too when it comes to relationships. And, you know, we talk to a lot of married couples and people who are dating or people who like want to be dating and they feel like frustrated that they're not and all those kind of things. And it seems like a lot of people are looking for something that is this like romantic factor that is like, but I'm waiting for the butterflies and I've like seen it. It's like, I remember when I liked somebody in like middle school and I would get like nervous around them or, and so people are like waiting for this chemistry thing and it's going to be like an explosion, like a chemistry explosion.
Like it was in middle school.
Like when you're really hormonal and like all of those different things where I feel like, I don't know, am I like a jaded person? This is terrible. People are like, yes.
I don't know, because I think if maybe somebody married their high school sweetheart and so all the feels of the middle school or the high school thing, maybe they just carried. I don't know. I feel like we know people who married their first big crush and
I know, and
are married
that's
20
true.
years later.
And that's true. And I feel like a lot of times in the beginning, those things are happen. But feelings are feelings. Like you don't have that feeling for the rest of your life.
No, but you attach it to you. I think the rose petals or the chocolates or the jewelry or the whatever it is, it's more about that it's connected to a person. And what is probably sad is then that we are connecting that, not just all the stuff, but we're connecting it to a feeling, but it's all connected to a person, which is probably what gets us in trouble sometimes down the road.
Right.
Because now your idea of romance is really what imprinted on you during that hormonal time. And now you're trying to recreate that, or your expectation on somebody down the road is maybe to recreate that. So I don't know. I think it's something that you really should be aware of. Like people should be self-aware.
Don't you feel like the world and Hollywood has cultivated this idea and conception of romance that people are expecting that's not real?
Yeah, of course. It's always perfect.
Well, it's always perfect till it's not, and there's a big dramatic thing, and then it's reunited and even better because we've gotten over
and
this.
That's what I mean. Even the resolution of the imperfect thing is perfect.
Yes.
So it's even the imperfection was perfectly set up. Everything was literally scripted. So, how do you compete with that? It's not real.
I wrote this down the other day because I was thinking about romance while I was walking. This is I'm always walking and writing and thinking of things.
Yeah.
The word romance is a lie that's been sold by the world and Hollywood because I really feel like that.
Okay.
Was there romance in the Bible? I'm thinking of all people who got married in the Bible. And I'm trying to think of any of these. Is there any romance story?
No, I mean, I think people would read certain things. People would read about Ruth and Boaz and say,
well, that's
it's
romantic.
But really, it's kind of not. It's kind of not romantic. It's kind of weird. Well, I mean, so the part of the story where she comes and uncovers his feet with the blanket and then covers herself.
I'm not gonna lie, you would think that's romantic.
If you covered my feet up?
Yeah.
No, she uncovers his feet, doesn't she?
Oh, I thought she lays on him.
I think she lays at his feet and then he takes his robe and lays it over her.
Yeah.
Well, here's what's really weird, right?
Oh, no.
So in Hebrew.
Oh, I know. You've told me this story before.
Okay, I won't tell you. Never mind.
I don't know if it's appropriate for our listeners.
It's definitely not. For our Hausers?
Our Hausers?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's okay.
It's up to you. If you feel like it's romantic, we're talking about romance. I didn't get to finish my thing.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I just said romance is not butterflies. It's an intentionally cultivated deep friendship, selflessly serving one another. Because I feel like that is real romance. I feel like that's what real relationship and marriage. It's not this thing. It's not about what you're getting. It's an intentionality within your relationship. I don't know.
I think so. Because it's going to look different for everybody. So it's if you're just like marriage, if you're serving the person, then somebody else might hate ice cream in bed. Somebody else might be lactose intolerant. So is that the most romantic thing, is to give them diarrhea right before they go to bed at night? Probably not, So I definitely think that you got to know that person.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes romance is like everything else. I think maybe the worst fallibility of romance is that we can even do that to be selfish.
Yeah.
We can even try to create a romantic environment. A guy can do it because he's trying to get laid, or a woman can do it because she's trying to stroke her own emotional need to receive something.
Yeah, and I feel like most quote unquote romantic gestures are from men to women. I feel like that's the normal. Women are waiting for the romance, waiting for this idea of romance.
Okay.
And I do feel bad because I feel like it has set a lot of guys up for failure.
Okay. Just based on the expectation.
Yes, based on the expectation of the lie that has been believed that this is what romance is and this is what it looks like and this is what it should feel like and this is what, if he really loves you or if you have a husband that's a good husband, these are the things he's going to be doing.
Yeah.
Because you deserve romance.
Well, someone might say the Hosea Gomer thing, as god awful as that story is, he's going and rescuing his wife from her own misgivings. It's all right, that's pretty romantic. And from a selfless hero perspective, Song of Solomon, I mean, the romantic thing about that is that they're so obsessed with each other.
Yeah.
They're
I know. I mean, originally I was thinking when I was talking about New Testament stuff where it's
yeah,
where you're talking about marriages or, there's stuff about marriage.
Yeah.
in the New Testament.
It's not romantic. Like,
it's not romantic.
They literally bring the sheet out with the blood on it to prove that the girl was a virgin. Like, what is romantic about that?
I mean,
it's like, it's all like business and contractual and legal and like covenantal.
Right.
It's not romantic.
And so, like, somehow we've gone from that to where we are today with, like, it's like my needs and this isn't being met and my feelings and the romance, like all this stuff.
Interesting.
It is. It's very interesting.
Well, I think it's good to hear, like, a woman talk about this because I think guys are trying to crack the code on how do we sweep a woman off her feet or how do we make her feel like she was swept off her feet. And really, the answer is what? You just have to know the woman? No,
I just feel like love is so much bigger than romance.
Okay.
And so it's like learning how to love one another well is much more crucial to a relationship. And that's why I feel like the intentionally like cultivating a friendship is way bigger and beyond romantic gestures.
So talk about that for a minute because I think everybody...
Yeah, but maybe that's just because I'm a quality time person. Like,
no,
maybe...
I don't think so. I don't think that's why... I mean, I get that too, but I want you to talk about that for a second because I think everybody quantifies more than platonic relationships by romance. That's like obviously the given value system. But what about cultivating a friendship? Because usually we're not talking about cultivating a friendship between a man and a woman. We're talking about romance and sex, right? So what does the friendship piece, why is that so much more important? And where do you see that as like foundational and how?
Oh gosh, it's too deep of a question.
Sorry, too many questions.
Yeah, it was
Sorry.
a lot.
Just pick anything in there and talk about it. Because I think this is important. I've been talking to the kids about it a little bit.
I think that's one thing I think I've like been thinking about a lot. Like our kids, you know, like you're watching them like using the word romantic, but like, you know, like start to have romantic feelings or like interests and all of those things. And you're like, man, I want them so badly to be able to get past like the hormones and look deeper. Yeah. Like get deeper with somebody and not in like an inappropriate emotionally, but I'm just saying like beyond that, like as a friend.
As a friend?
Yes.
What
like
do
as
you
a
mean
friend,
by
is
that?
this like a good friend?
Is this a personality? Like is this person's like communication?
Yeah, where you bring out the best in each other and you're encouraging each other in like your weaknesses and being like, hey, don't struggle with that. Like you're good at it. Just do it. Like I'm going to go with you. Like let's do it together. Like just really encouraging one another. Cause I feel like in our marriage, like that's some of the best thing about our marriage is I feel like we bring out good things out of each other. And that is more important to me. Like our foundation of friendship in our marriage is more important to me than some romantic gesture. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like those things come and go and they're emotional and they're like feelings, like momentary feelings. And so like I want our kids to be able to grasp that younger than I feel like I grasped it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't you feel like if you look back at your like high school self, like you made so many decisions based on like hormones?
Yeah.
And you're like, some of those things you looked back on even when you're like to early 20s and you're like, man, that was so stupid. Like, why was I so like...
You were already looking back by your early 20s?
Yes.
That's pretty impressive. I feel like a lot of people are still just making a lot of stupid mistakes.
I mean, we got married at 23, so... We were dating at 22. So, but yes, early 20s, I was always like, already like, that's so, like,
so you don't feel like, you had already kind of like, not like ruled out hormones, but like you weren't being led by that in our relationship and us coming together?
I think it probably started that way. I think it definitely started that way.
Okay.
But you were I feel like you're more of like business too. So you're like, this just makes sense. I'm like, okay.
It did.
I know.
But I don't think it just made sense. I think we loved each other. At least I loved you. I mean, you were, as what was revealed in our premarital counseling, I knew right away that you were the only one, but clearly, you know.
Oh my gosh.
According to the test, which is the least romantic thing you can do.
We don't make people do that, do we?
No.
Here?
Oh, God, I hope not. I don't think so.
Guys, when we were getting married, you used to have to take a test.
That told you if you were compatible and stuff.
It was supposed to be a compatibility test. Now, you're already engaged at this point.
Right.
So why are they giving you a compatibility test?
To set you up for...
Who knows? Like, why after you're engaged, is somebody going to be like, actually, you guys aren't compatible? Yeah. I mean, fortunately, that didn't happen to us. I think we got everything right, except we had one out of like 50. And it was The question.
The question.
The question that has lived on in infamy.
And we know another couple that did the same thing. Was it Dave and Karen? Yeah,
yes,
Dave and Karen.
The same question. They answered the exact same ways that we did.
They were the first couple I ever married.
And you gave them the test?
No, I didn't give them the test.
I wonder, they must have taken it at the church.
I didn't do their premarital.
Yeah.
I didn't do their premarital.
Oh, that's right.
I just married them.
It was like just something
wild.
stupid. Yeah, the question was, then this is so annoying that this is even a question. It said, could you be happy marrying anybody else?
Right. So me being a romantic.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, of course not. Like, this is the only person.
And wasn't it like one of the last questions on the test or something? I remember it like being at the end.
I don't know. You may have just made that up to make it more epic, but
maybe in my head, as it's grown over the years.
You're like, this is the only question. No, I remember thinking like, yeah, I'm marrying this person, so she's not just like an option.
Because you read it thinking like, amongst like all the other girls in the world right now, like, or this is who you're picking. Is this who you want?
Yeah,
she's
like,
gonna make you happy.
exactly.
Like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. But I read it as like, if I say yes to this, if I say yes,
am I needy?
Am I needy? That's literally like,
could I ever be happy without this person? Like,
yes.
Oh wait, what about my relationship with the Lord?
Your happiness shouldn't be based on your relationship.
Yeah,
it should be, and that's literally how I read it. I'm like, oh my gosh,
sad
this is a
that
trick
you're
question.
Like answering questions like with knowing. You spent too long on the debate team.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Like, I know exactly what they're trying to do to me.
Yeah, I know. I won't
like,
be backed into that corner, hooker. No.
But Karen,
is this the only person? Absolutely not. Emphatically no.
Like, just try me. Anybody.
Yeah. I could be happy with anybody.
Oh my gosh.
That is so funny.
But Karen thought the same thing. We didn't kind of find out that until years later that was their question too. That
is so funny.
And then turned into, and it was so awkward because we're in premarital counseling. It's at the end. He's like reading the text and he's like, and all right, so Zach, you said you wouldn't be happy marrying anybody else, and Ashley, you said you would be happy marrying anybody else. I think.
And then he like
stops
for a dramatic pause and looks up at me like, "What's my response going to be?"
Oh my gosh!
So I'm like, "What is my response supposed to be here?" I'm like 23 years old and I have no idea. I don't have a clue. Anyway.
Oh my gosh! And that's why we don't give people tests.
No, here's the deal: no one is compatible. No marriage is compatible because you're never marrying yourself.
Yes.
We're not even compatible with ourselves.
I know.
We can't even get along with our own minds.
I know.
How are you supposed to get along with somebody else?
I know.
You're not compatible. That's what marriage is for. You're supposed to be paired up with somebody you're incompatible with. Yes, exactly. Like all the things that chafe in you, that's exactly what marriage is for.
Oh my gosh.
But I do believe that the point of the premarital counseling for those people who are like, that's why we're not going to do premarital counseling. No, shut up with that. The point of premarital counseling is to say, hey, based on your background, based on the way you're wired, based on your strengths and weaknesses, these are some places that your marriage is going to crush at, and these are some places where it's going to want to crush you.
Yeah, and you're going to need to work on.
And you need to be prepared.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to prepare adults who have already prayed about the decision, hopefully, and are making it accordingly. You know, it's to prepare you.
Right.
So back to the question at hand.
No more questions. Don't ask me any more questions.
The romance thing. Oh, the friendship. About cultivating friendship.
Kids?
I think with our kids, it's like, yeah. And again, I also know couples that married what they would say was their best friend. And it's like not a really healthy thing because there's some, it doesn't mean that, because I married my best friend, we're never going to have problems.
Right.
Because your best friend could still be selfish. Your best friend could still have issues that they need to resolve. Your best friend could still have some other stuff going on.
Yeah, I get that.
So it's not
I just feel like friendship's a really important thing because I feel like in a relationship, if you don't have friendship, it's like you need this like connecting point that like brings you back together. It's like you do have to have some things that bring you back together for like conversation, and you want what's best for your best friend.
Right.
And you want them to be like living their best life. And
we've talked to so many couples that like they're terrible, but they still are like sexually attracted to each other.
Yeah.
And like I've literally had couples say, no, sex is the part that's working.
Yeah.
That's the good part.
Yeah.
We do have that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but everything else. So in other words, you can't just get married based on that.
Well, I heard it said once, I thought it might have been Levi and Jenny Lusko might have been talking about it at one point, but they were talking about, I think it was like the sex thing and saying like, that's great that like sexually you're compatible. Like that's awesome. That's like 20 minutes of like 24 hours of a day. And so like, that's great.
Well, ours is like 2.5 hours, 3 hours probably.
That's great.
Whatever.
He might even said 15 minutes. It's just like you go into it and it's like before marriage, it's all you're thinking about. And it's like this huge thing and it's like this big thing. In the reality of really being married, it's like, yes, but we're spending a lot more time with clothes on and having conversation with families
and problem solving.
Problem solving and living life and working and all of those things.
Right.
It's a part of it. But it's like, I think we make it such a big thing. And it's like all we talk about, you have all this sexual attraction and you have all these kids, like you're just trying to like get them to a wedding day without like having sex before they get married and controlling their hormones and setting up all these boundaries and all those things. And you're like, for this one piece of it. And it's like, if you could just retrain your focus like somehow onto like a bigger thing.
And that's
I don't know.
Actually, I think you just perfectly described, I know we've done podcasts in the past on like the purity culture and like all the issues that came out of that and like, was it really as bad as everybody made it out to be and all this stuff. I think the biggest issue with the purity culture is that it left out so much other stuff. It made everything about just don't do this.
Yes. So like when you're in a relationship, it's literally, that's all it's about.
Right.
Not doing it or like talking about doing it or like getting, and it's like, what about like the entire...
Do we actually get along?
Yes.
Yeah, I know, because then you cross a threshold and it's like, okay, now that's not even part of the conversation anymore.
Right.
Now it's, oh, wait a minute, I don't even know you. Or what do we actually...
Right.
Where do we share? Are we consistent in a lot of this stuff? Or were we just obeying a set of rules to get to this day?
I know.
And now we're here, and now what?
And now what?
And that's literally some of the conversations we've had with folks who were like really deep in the purity culture. That's what it kind of produced, was this like, okay, now what? Like, this is weird. And now not only do I have a screwed up view of sex that was all around don'ts and this is terrible, but I don't have a view on all these other things. So kind of crazy. Classic Christianity. We're such extremists and we just mess everything up.
I think if there's like one piece of encouragement, maybe a couple pieces of encouragement.
There's a lot of encouragement here. Yeah.
Yeah. I think in relationships, just allow your eyes to be a little bit bigger than like these big moments of romance. And they're not bad, they're good, but communicate with your like spouse, like what is romantic to you. I think that's important. Another thing is like parents, how do we like teach our kids? How do we like encourage them into like healthy relationships and not things always being about relationship, like romantic relationships.
Right.
And continue to like reinforce the importance of like friendship and just like time together.
Right.
With people. And it's like fun. I mean, we've spent so many hours just talking and laughing. Do you know what I mean? Like just laughing at stupid things and hanging out and doing things and doing projects together. To me, I feel like that's what our marriage is about. It's like we do ministry together, we do projects together, like, and that's us. I know that's different for everybody. But I think in a lot of people's heads, it's like this, like love and romance is this like bigger part of what's happening in marriage.
Yeah. Even if you come into marriage and there is a basis for this, because let's say a guy's like doing everything in his power to win you over, and then you finally get married and now it's all been on this romance. So now we're trying to keep that up. We're trying to maintain and up the ante of, well, I got to be more romantic than the last time. The problem is once you start to have kids, once you like buy a house and you're starting to try to do projects in it, or once you are we picked up a second job to send our kids to Christian school or whatever it is, it can be exhausting to try to maintain that. It's not reality to try to maintain that. And once that starts to go, if your whole relationship was based on it, it feels very undermining.
Yeah.
It feels very eroding of like what was important and foundational. And I think we've talked about this, but like one of the second highest rates of divorces is at that empty nest stage, because you end up staying together for the sake of your kids, and then they graduate and you're not quite midlife, maybe midlife, depending on when you had kids, say midlife. And it's like, wait a minute, I don't even know this person I live with.
Yeah.
I don't even know who they are anymore. Why? Because the friendship piece just wasn't there.
Right.
You know? So yeah, invest in your friendship with your spouse. I love that. That's so good.
That's all. Did I sound cranky?
No, not at all.
I feel bad about the rose petals and the candles, because I'm sure somebody that did that and that was like a big thing for your marriage. And I'm glad.
You feel bad because you just roasted your ex?
No, that part I don't really care about.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But sorry, that part I don't really care about. But I do. I'm
not trying to. My heart really goes out to the guy.
I'm not trying to like devalue like what is romance for anybody. I just, as a broad thing.
Yeah.
It's so different for everybody. And I think we just hold our hopes up to Hollywood. And I think it does relationships a disservice.
Learn your spouse. And I've said it on here before. We've talked about it in premarital all the time. But like when an Israelite would get married, because all Jews that were of fighting age were required to be in the Israeli army. This is going all the way back to the Mosaic Law, except for when they got married. And when they got married, they got 2 years off of active duty. So when everybody went to war, newlyweds stayed home for 2 years.
Yeah.
And it actually says in some translations, it's written this way, and I love it. It says, you'll stay home to learn your wife, to learn your spouse. I feel like women are a lot better at this than men, because men are usually focused on something else, some job or career related thing, and women are watching their husbands, they're learning them, and they know us. You know us like eerily well. That's why when we're like, oh, you read my mind, or like you finish each other's sentences, that's not because you're actually reading somebody's mind. It's because you've watched their behavior so much.
Yeah.
They're so predictable, right? We're all creatures of habit and, pattern. And when you learn somebody's pattern, you take a lot of the, I don't want to say the mystery out, because usually the mystery is like a good thing, but you take the wonder out of, what can I do to honor this person? What can I do to make them feel loved? What can I do to like serve them better? Oh, it's something that they do every day, or something that they need done, or they're constantly like, how often am I losing stuff? And I come home one day and you ordered Apple AirTags, right? And they're on the counter. It's like, oh, you're helping me solve a problem. We didn't even really, maybe we had a conversation about it, but it's like, all of this stuff is from paying attention. Just pay attention. The world is vying for your attention, but your spouse really needs it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Good job, babe.
Sorry, we could probably keep talking about this, but we can.
But we have meetings.
We do. We actually have. Yeah, we're probably late to something right now. Anyway, good stuff.
Anyway, thanks, guys. Thanks for stopping by our house, Our Housers, and we'll see you next Friday right here on Our House.
This is Messer. And I'm Willa. This is Our House from A to Z. Thanks for coming over.
Well, isn't that special?
Lock the doors.
Am I in danger at all? I'm the son of the Pope.